All right, I'm here making a video on how to work slash do your housing bonus. So obviously this will not be to scale. You can make it bigger, smaller, however you want to do it. But off the bat, you're going to have access to Adobe, which is made from uh, the dirt and wood, and anyone can make this. This is mostly going to be what you're starting off your house as. Granted, this isn't to make it look pretty. This is just demonstration. But this is essentially everything you can make right at the beginning. So things like the stump latrines, which anyone can craft, which just take wood, the stump tables, and the stump chairs. And this is essentially what's going to get you started. And you can see this right here will get you a 10-point housing bonus. So off the bat, you're going to be able to make a bathroom and a bedroom all by yourself without any external means at all. And the biggest goal of a housing bonus is to make two of every room. So your second room will of course give you a 50% value, but it is still extra points and they do still add up. We can see if you go to the Ecopedia, it's the hotkey P. You can go to housing objects and you can see what you can put in every room. Outdoors, you don't have that many options at the beginning. So your first big ones are going to be things like the statues, where it says like repeats in room yield 70% less value each. So for example, if you have the bison, that's 6 points. If you put down any other statue, it's going to be at 70% of that value. So in this case, it'd be 2.4 points ish. Other things you can do things like these tiki torches. I personally don't like the tiki torches because you have to put a torch in them, and torches are annoying to craft and they don't last that long. But also the garden ponds that the farmers can make early game are good. You'd want to get two of those. And then, of course, a plaque when you can. So the plaque is helpful because people can vote on your building, and it gives you culture, and that culture also goes towards your housing bonus as well. It's a set multiplier. Um, and you'll see whatever the server settings are, but for every 500 culture you have, you'll be 50% closer to times 2ing your housing bonus. You're not going to get to 500. I normally see around 10 to 20, which normally gives you like a 0.02 to 0.04 extra percent, which isn't a lot, but it could be a couple points. So once you got your bedroom and your bathroom, like this is baseline stuff, you can start working towards getting stuff from your logger. So your logger is going to have a couple good things like hewn nightstands. The hewn nightstands help out a lot. They give a lot of points. And then for most things in your room, you want to have almost two of everything in there. So each item, like we talked about earlier with that percent yield. So for example, the nightstands give a 40% less value each. I normally go by if it's more than or less than 70%. So for nightstands, two of them, your second one's only going to be 1.25 points if we look at it, or 1.5 points because it's a 60% of its original value. But it's still a whole extra point and a half, and the hewn nightstands are pretty cheap. Also, the hewn dressers. Like I said, you want two of these in every room. If I could fit two of them in this room. And you can see just with nightstands and dressers now, we're already at 15 points, which moved me from, I think the default's 2 days to 20 hours. So you've already almost halved your first star because you have essentially double the amount of points. Also with the loggers, you'll have ice boxes. I recommend having two of these in every kitchen you have. And then now that we have kitchens, we're up to 23, so we've almost doubled it again already. And these are all stuff you can get with our ice boxes are going to be carpentry, so those are going to be a little bit later. But I think those and the butchery tables. So the one things that are a little bad about the butchery tables is since they are a crafting table, they do have a tier requirement. So you're not actually going to be able to use these with Adobe. So you will have to upgrade your house to either hewn or mortared stone before the butcher's tables takes effect. And you can see this underneath your kitchen. It'll say that they are disabled because they don't meet room requirements. Another thing to look at, so like with these stump chairs and tables, is those fall underneath different supports. So the stump chair and the stump table fall under seating support. And if you see here, um, the seating support is capped at 30% of the actual room's furnishings. So for the bedrooms, we might actually not hit that cap, which we don't. So that's also important to push as well, as you can have a table and like two chairs, or a table and a bench and a chair, um, and you can rack those up even more. But right now you'll see that instead of the 1.55 or 1.65 I'm supposed to be getting, I'm only getting 1.35. So you get less of it, just because the seating support is more than the actual table support. And then the other ones, which I think I actually made this house a room short. Oh, never mind. No, I did not. Are the fireplaces. These, you really only need two of them. These, you just need to make sure that you keep stock with fuel. So if you look right now, they're not doing anything. But once you put fuel in them, and you keep them fueled, they take any burnable things like peat, charcoal, crushed coal, things like that. And you can see how much points those give. So the fireplace alone give 5 points, and then of course we have all of our seating support, which is giving us an extra 1.5 points. Uh, Underneath that, we also have things called decorations. So these can also go in your rooms. So your early game decorations isn't going to be much. Your hunter might make you some pelts, um, the hair pelts at least, the small ones, because that's all they're going to be able to make. When you hit glass, you'll get things like vases. Tailoring, you can get things like rugs. Rugs end up being pretty expensive though, because tailoring starts out expensive. Unfortunately, these stuffed animals, you're gonna have to wait till you get lumber. And then, of course, there's a lot of different seating options. For the living room, your next big steps are most likely going to be getting a bookshelf or a shelf cabinet from your carpenter. And you can throw those in here as well. But you can see that just two of every room, and not a lot of stuff. You can make almost all of this yourself except dressers, nightstands, butcher's table, icebox, fireplaces. We're already at a 32 housing bonus, which is really nice. But you can see that our bathrooms are very much lacking. And your bathrooms do tend to suffer a lot in the beginning. So your next big things for your bathroom is going to be when tailoring comes out. You have things like bath mats. These are big. The bathroom is always the hardest one to get points in. You get washboards from the tailor as well, which are nice. The logger or carpenters can also make wooden latrines, so you can upgrade your stump toilets to wooden latrines. Those help out a lot. And then when pottery comes out, you can get small sinks, bathtubs. And when you get advanced mason or advanced smelting, you get the toilets, which are also big on points, but not much for the bathroom at all. For lighting, these follow the same rules as seating and decoration do. So you're most likely going to be starting off with like tallow wall lamps and things like that. The only thing that does suck about the tallow stuff and the candle lamps and all that stuff is that they take fat. And oil ends up being pretty expensive and it doesn't last that long. And tallow is also always really expensive. So you're almost stuck with that for a while until you come out with mechanics. You can ask your carpenter to make you some of the wooden ceiling lights, but you're going to need electrical power. So that's something to take into consideration. But your lighting can add tons of points to your house once you actually get to that stage of having electrical power. Just two of these lights in a room alone could give you 15 points or 13-ish points just from two lights in a room alone. Of course, they follow the I think lighting is 50% of the total room value. But you can see, so right now we have two of every room, 8 rooms in total. And then of course we have the outdoors. The outdoors you can only have one of. But any points helps, so you can see that just 2 garden pounds, we're up to 39. And if we get the... I don't know if they actually say bison statue. Oh, nice. Okay. And then the bison statues too. Um, which are already up to 46. So we've almost added another extra 10 points just for outdoors alone. 14 points. Your outdoors bonus can, the highest value it can be is your highest room in your house, or like your whole house. So if your outdoor bonus is, say, for example, 40, but all of your rooms in total, your other four categories, only add up to 30, then your outdoors is only going to give you 30% as well. I know it may seem tedious making a second of every room. It is very easy to get 20 points in each room alone, not making two of every room. But this is kind of like early game stuff that you can do. On day one, you definitely want to get your stump furniture down, two of every room. That's 10 points right there. When masonry and carpentry come out, you can definitely start getting, definitely as soon as possible, huge nightstands, huge dressers. And you can see that we're already down to 9 hours now till our second star. So it significantly reduces the amount of time until you actually get your next star. And almost all this is a demo that you can see, and we'll even add like an extra chair in here, and you can see it didn't change our housing bonus at all. And that's because that room, we're already at our capped seating value, so no matter how many more chairs I add, it's not going to change it. It's still going to cap it at 1.5 until I add, for example, another fireplace. Which if I did, I put some fuel in it, you'll see that the living room will go up. One, because we had an extra fireplace. However, it is a very, very diminishing return of 0.5, 10% value. But also it brings our seating up. So a good example of this is, say we get a bookshelf. We have one bookshelf. You can see we're at 47.1 for a total of 6.29 in this room. The bookshelf, even though the bookshelf is only worth, where'd it go? I don't think that's updated yet. There we go. So the bookshelf itself gives 5 points, but because our item specifically to a living room went up, we're also no longer hitting that seating support cap anymore. So we could put something nicer in here for more points again to kind of build on that seating support. The Ecopedia is great for this, finding out what things you can shove in your rooms. Also, when you get lumber out, or even tailoring, these cast iron beds are going to be nice. They're a lot bigger than these beds, so you may only be able to put one in here. But the cast iron beds are nice. They give a lot of points. And then carpentry comes out. You can replace your dressers with the lumber dressers. You're going to live with these Hue nightstands forever. It's just the way it is. But they give a lot of good points. And then eventually end game, or even when you get the cast iron beds, you also have the wooden fabric beds. I guess with logging, you also have the wooden straw beds if you want to upgrade to those, but it'll be a very quick process between wooden straw and then cast iron. And then you get the nylon futon bed, which is the end game bed in here. You can't really do anything with cultural in your house. Like I said, decorations. I can do. Is it called? Rug large. Okay. You can see it goes on the floor. But if we put a rug in here, you can see that boop, it gives us 4 points, but it can only be 20% of your living room furnishings, um, which is 10.5, so our resulting value is 2. So if we got more things to put on our living room, like a mount on the wall, that would also go up in value from its 2 right now to probably 3-ish, maybe. All right, so here we have a tier 2 house essentially. So after you have a good amount of lumber, brick, and glass out on the market, this is something that should be easily for you to make that's out and about. So this is over 100 on your housing bonus. This is one of every room, so you could double all of these rooms essentially and have a total of 150 points. Granted, these are also not min-maxed. You can see I have not maxed out my seating bonus or my decoration bonus on every room. But you can see that as soon as you start going with more stuff in a room, you'll hit a soft cap. And this soft cap is something you should be striving for on every time. That means you have put enough stuff in your room that you're limited by this building material. So you could later upgrade this lumber to reinforced concrete, which will significantly up your housing bonus. And just for a demonstration, We can see that if I just replace the whole roof, essentially every single room, you'll see the housing bonus will go away, hopefully, because these are no longer rooms. Um, and then we replace this, so it was at 103.6, and then with a tier 3 roof, it goes up to 107.5. As you see, all these room bonuses, or all those material qualities, they've gone up from 3 to a little bit more than 3. 3.32, 3.1, 3.29, and 3.28. Something else to take into consideration is how much stuff you have in a room. So like this bathroom right now is pretty cramped because of how small I made it. And if you put something else in there, you'll see that room will go away. And your bathroom is say 0 and everything will be disabled. And it's essentially because you have exceeded your amount of space in your room. Um, so yeah, that could be something that greatly affects it. Also, fireplaces can go in your bedroom. They do have a support. They're not that high. They can only be 25% of your maximum furnishing, so you'll lose some points on it. But in this case, it's an extra free 5 points just having another fireplace in here. So you have things like the bakery oven. If you're not a baker, then obviously you just need to stick one piece of fuel in it and then just leave it there, and it'll never burn it because you're not using it. Your ice boxes, your tables, your chairs. Salt baskets are a good one for the kitchen. That'll help you out early game, and then same thing with the washboards. But this is all stuff that you'll easily have when carpentry is fully up and running, and then brick for the fireplaces, and you have lumber. This is well expected for a tier 2 room. Outside we have 2 statues, which like I said, there's that great diminishing return, but it's still 1.8 on the second one. The 2 gardens and then also these spiral fountains come out relatively early in the game, and these give a good 5 points to your outdoors. I would only recommend having one of them. You can also put decorations outside. Um, So for your outdoors, you have things like these buntings, which normally you have to special request from your tailor because of how many there are. They're normally not going to make 2 or 3 of all of these, so just get a few of those. But that's an extra 3 points as well. Something to take into consideration is they follow under the outdoor decoration tag. Um, Other things that fall underneath the outdoor decoration tag is like your statues and the fountains. So you won't actually get 3 points from this because other things are considered outdoor decoration. And it might get angry at you. Also, the braziers. So early game, you have the stone braziers that'll help you out, and then once you get iron, you can get these braziers. These take burnable fuel, despite them taking 2 tallow each. So like a piece of peat, a piece of wood, something like that. And that's also an extra 2.5 points. The lights are very good. This house really isn't built for a light phase, but to give you an example of how much a lighting could do for your house. We'll put a wind turbine here just so we have some electrical power. And I put it backwards. There we go. And then we can do. Oh god, that doesn't look right either. So ceiling lights. So you can see right now. Oh, something else to take into consideration. This wind turbine is currently taking away my outdoor bonus. Because now my outdoors is considered industrial. So if you have anything, windmills, water wheels, those need to be off of your claimed land or else it will get angry at you. So the best way to combat that is to, if you have a town, your town marks a specific power plant. So of course no one comes by and steals all your power generating equipment. But you need to be very careful with that. Sometimes you'll be digging out a basement underground, and then you'll leave a hole in the floor. For example, if you just have a hole like this, and then down here you have an Arastra, a rocker box, a generator, then it will destroy your outdoor bonus because this isn't a complete room, so you have to use things like ladders. But now you can see we're 107.5 and just a couple lights. These lights don't come out till electronics, it's just a demonstration. But you can quickly see how high your bonus can go very quickly just based on these alone. So we almost get 20 points from these when you look at each individual room. You can see that the light is giving us 8 points in this room. However, it didn't go up that much because of our soft cap due to our building materials, which we can change again. We'll change it to, we'll say, do flat steel because it's easy to type. Um, we'll make this out of flat steel, which is a tier 5, but it should go up considerably more because now all your rooms, they're a higher room value, so your soft cap can also go higher in conjunction with that. But yeah, this is just a quick guide. Obviously you can do with this whatever you want. The Ecopedia is really good at showing you everything. The first lights you'll really have is going to be from carpentry, which is going to be these wooden ceiling lights. These are going to give you a lot of points early games. Like I said, these tallow wall lamps, 4 points is a lot of points. You put 2 of them in every room. But it normally, if you have 2 of them in every room, I normally put 10 oil in them at a time, which lasts about a day and a half. It's just a lot of oil, and it can get very expensive very quickly. Carved pumpkins too, but those also take a fat tag, so tallow and oil as well. So your best bet is holding off until you get the wooden ceiling lights or the wooden floor lamps and stuff like that. Once you get electrical power, which should come out with mechanics. Um, but yeah, there's a lot of different ways you can do this. Like I said, I'm not even getting close to these seating supports, so I could totally throw in another table in here, and it'll go up more. Granted, not as much because for this one specifically, I already have a table in here, so it's just going to be at a lesser value if it would register. Just based on how much they give, these are 90% reduction for each of them. And other things like this cast iron table, if you have a cast iron table and a stump table in the same room, since they're both considered tables, they're both going to fall underneath the same tag of, that diminishing return for the tables. And you can see that this other table, if it were to load in eventually, it's going to be at a significantly lower value, 0.01. Uh, it's going to take the higher value of those as well. But this is very basic, very easy for you to get 100 points easily, even without all of these ceiling lights in here that you don't get till electronics. But this house you can very easily get at the beginning. I wouldn't say like day 1, but this is like a day 3, day 4 setup. And then of course if you make a second of every room, they're all going to be 50% value of their each. But that's an extra 12 points here, 12 points there, 10 points there, and 10 points there. So almost an extra 45, 50 points just from having a second one of all of these rooms. So you could easily get up to 150, 160 points, and then of course as you go higher, you can put more things in here. Like if you notice, the bedrooms, I only have 1 bed in them. I made my bathroom pretty small, so I can't fit another latrine in here, but eventually the toilets are going to come out. You can put another bath mat. You can put more decorations, and you can essentially just go from there.